The Kirky B Show with drummer Vinnie Aguas.
Hey everybody, it's the Cricky B Show, and I'm here with Vinnie Aguas
Hey
again.
guys.
We're doing this actually a second take because I had pilot error and I screwed up and my microphone fell, and you couldn't hear me in the interview. So here I am now. Vinnie, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. So where are you from? How old are you? And we're gonna get into drums and everything that you're up to.
I'm 20 and I grew up in Eagle Rock and close to the Glendale area also.
All
Yeah, I've
right.
lived here my whole life. So I've
And
been
you and you told me your dad's a musician, right?
yeah, he's also a drummer, not a professional, but he plays drums and we have a studio in the garage and I've always grew up around music and in the family too. My uncle plays guitar and yeah, also my grandpa plays bass, so I've always been around music all my life.
Wow, really musical family. That's cool. Well, you're Filipino like me, so it comes natural to us, right? There's
Yeah,
always musicians in the family.
that's true. Yeah,
That's so awesome.
love music.
So tell me what you've been up to these days. I follow you on social media and I see everything that you're up to. It looks like you've been doing some live gigs with David Benoit.
Yeah, I started playing with David maybe around 12 years old, and yeah, he was really like a big mentor for me growing up. Like he would take me on tour, like small leg tours while I was still in maybe middle school, high school, and yeah, it was always a great experience. And like the musicians he would bring are all high level players, of course, and
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, just like listening to all the records too, like the greatest drummers he's had, like Jeff Porcaro, Carlos Vega. It was really helpful for me, and yeah, I still play with them sometimes. He also gets different drummers, but yeah, that's been a great gig for me, and I've been subbing with Ozo Motley maybe like a little over a year ago, and also just recently started playing with Arnel Pineda's solo band, so that's been really fun.
The
Yeah,
singer from Journey.
yeah. We just
Great.
actually,
Wow.
yeah, we just had our
That's
first
cool.
two shows. Yeah, he's really nice too. Yeah,
Is
great
he
band.
singing in Tagalog or English or both?
Uh, Both. He has some originals that are in Tagalog too. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's very cool. Man, tell me a little bit about that because um, when I moved to town, I was probably like one of the only Filipinos I could count on one hand that was a musician that played professionally. Tell me about you. Like, I know that your father's a musician and you're Filipino, and so what was that like coming up? And just in terms of being a musician, and then how did that transition into being able to play with David and Arnell?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like yeah, I definitely say like that's true. And like in the LA scene for sure, there's not maybe a lot of Filipino musicians professionally, but there's definitely like the Filipino professional music scene here in America, which is like separate. Like and true, like you said, like you don't really see a lot of Filipino musicians. Yeah, actually, it's funny because I remember like when I first started playing, maybe like 10 years old or so. I was watching you on YouTube, and I told my dad about it. He's like, yo, I told him like, yo, you gotta check this guy out. He's like, oh, I already know him. He's like, he's Filipino. I was like, what? That was like, I was like, that's sick.
I know because the only other person I knew that did it professionally was my cousin Leon Biscara. He's a keyboard player, and he played with many artists and did tours and stuff like that. Randy Crawford was one of his bigger gigs, and
Nice.
I remember meeting him for the first time when I moved to town in '84. But yeah, he was like the only other guy I knew. And then as the years progressed, I started noticing more and more. I got to meet and befriend Eric Hernandez, the
Oh,
drummer for Bruno Mars. He's half Filipino. His mom is Filipino, and yeah, I'm just like for me now that I'm a OG older dude, it's so nice to like see all you young dudes coming up, and I'm a very proud uncle to see the Filipino drummers. Yeah, I should do the interview like that in a accent. That'd be
You do it very convincingly, not gonna lie, but
dude. I I remember, when I was coming up playing at all the Filipino community dances and stuff, all the old manongs and manangs. That's how they talk. So
yeah.
that's that's all my titos. They're just like, "Hey, Kurki, go play drum." Okay, and it was funny. I used to make fun of them, because they spoke like that. But then now it's kind of like, wow, that's like a very unique accent,
Yeah.
replacing the F's for P's and the T's for F's, and I just love it. I think culturally, as I've saged, it's more fun now. I dig my culture big time. And like you, just watching you play, it's such a treat, because I get to see you play all kind of styles of music, like you said, with Arnell, funk stuff, fusion. Who are like let's say your top 5 drummers? No, let's go top 10. Let's go top 10. Top
Okay.
10.
Man. I'm gonna try to maybe start with like my original influence of John Bonham, Neil Peart, Jeff Porcaro, Vinnie, Gary Novak. Is that 5 already?
That's
Damn,
5.
that's
Wow.
just too many. Uh, Dennis Chambers, Joey Heredia, uh, trying to think, Clayton Cameron, Frank Briggs, Dave Anderson, all my teachers, Alex. I mean, I already ran out, but like my favorite drummers growing up, you, Carlos Vega. Man, there's like too many.
Wow. But well, that's a great
Alex,
top 10 right there.
yeah,
That's an
and
excellent top 10. And what you mentioned your teachers, did you study privately or did you go to music school?
oh yeah, privately. I was fortunate. I had some lessons with Will Kennedy, Alex Acuna. But as far as like really studying, my first teacher was Dave Anderson, and then I studied with Frank Briggs. Frank Briggs, both of them were like my main 2 teachers for a while, and I had a lot of lessons with Joey Heredia. He's also a mentor to me. Joey, Clayton Cameron. I got to study with Clayton Cameron also. So those guys really like helped me out for sure. Those were like all my teachers growing up.
That's cool. And out of all those guys, what did you walk away with that really stuck with you? Was it like more the Latin thing from Joey or Alex, or what was it, any particular style or methods or techniques?
Yeah, I'd say for me, what I feel like worked the best with me was like just all their knowledge and methods, just like hanging out with guys like that, and like their own styles, really kind of just to see that hands on, and like to be able to be around like high level drummers like that was just such a treat. And yeah, I think conceptually and like in the music is what was the biggest takeaway, I think, for me.
Yeah. Wow. And did you ever get to go see those guys play live at like the Big Potato or any of the clubs around town?
Oh yeah, definitely. I saw Joey a bunch play with like El Trio at the Big Potato, and I didn't get to see because the Blue Whale. I wasn't able to see Clayton play, but my dad, I know he would see him, and it's like really amazing with his group. And I did see Will Kennedy though when he like a few years ago when he did the Bob Mincer Big Band. That was really
Oh,
good.
right. The Mincer Big Band. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah, that
So
was
what
that
do you
was.
so what do you do for hobbies other than drumming? What are you into?
For hobbies, I've always been into cars also, like growing up. Not really so much like a sports guy. I played like a little bit of basketball maybe like in high school, but not I wasn't really like into it or like yeah, like a serious player.
Yeah.
Yeah. just cars and like my dad's a gearhead, so like I do like little mods here and there, whatever I can afford. I haven't hit the track yet, but probably in the future.
Wow, that sounds cool. And what when you mean by mods, what do you mean like with certain type of cars or
Oh yeah, like simple like bolt on. Like my first car, I found like some used parts on OfferUp. I think they probably like got it from the junkyard or something. So like I just put like exhaust intake. I upgraded like the suspension too, like and eventually like the differential. So like yeah, like like decent amount of stuff I put into my car. And my
wow, what
because
kind
my
of car? What kind of car is it?
it was a Mini Cooper.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
that's
like
cool.
it's great for gigs because I actually what I ended up doing was you could fit it when you fold the seats, but I just took out the rear seats anyway because I it was lowered, so like I really can't have anybody back there anyway. So like
Right.
yeah,
I
that was a
used
great
to be
car.
able to put a my 5-piece Slingman kit and a Marshall half stack in my Volkswagen.
Wow, that
I
is
know. I don't know how I did it. I had to take out the passenger seat, but I did it.
that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. I actually just
Crazy.
bought a Volkswagen as my after I sold my last car.
Yeah. What year Volkswagen?
2016.
Nice. Yeah. Mine was a 1960.
Wow,
It was a 1960 cow look. I had it lowered with center lines. I put a 1635 engine in it. I was
nice.
all into the whole California bug scene when it was happening. It
That's
was
sick.
fun. I know
Yeah.
it's totally sick, but that's
Wow.
cool. You had a Mini Cooper with, so did
Yeah.
you put like an exhaust on it and did you put did you work on the engine a lot? Like put a nice cam in there and
Oh, I didn't get to that yet.
you didn't get
But
to
my
that.
dad
Okay.
did do like maintenance and all that. I just upgraded like it had a supercharger, so the supercharger pulley and just like a simple tune. Just like yeah.
So you'd haul ass to a gig.
When you're late,
that's
man.
that's awesome. So you're into cars and any other things that do you go skateboarding or are you into snowboarding or anything like that or
I haven't tried snowboarding or skateboarding. I used to be a gamer though, like a really heavy into games growing up.
yeah, which games? What were your top three that you were into?
My top three, probably like 2K, Grand Theft Auto, and Call of Duty. I'd say, or like when Fortnite came out too. Like usually, because I like playing like online stuff, like Group of Four, Group of Three. Those are like my favorite type of games. Yeah,
Wow. That's a whole like culture into itself, right?
yeah.
You could spend thousands of dollars on the whole gaming thing.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah,
Have you ever been to one of those gaming cons, like where they have like it's like NAM show for gamers. Have you
yeah.
been to one of those?
No, not those. I'm not like I never got to the PC world or but I do just like the basic setup. Yeah, but my friends though, yeah, you're right. Like, man, like they really like upgrade all their if they use PC or like the headphones and all that stuff, or like the even like an upgraded controller. I remember like yeah, because I would just sometimes I just use like an earbud or something, and apparently like if you got both, you could hear. I'm like, man, I'm
Right.
not gonna. They would be buying like $300 headphones. I'm like, oh, I can't. I'll just buy
That's
heads or
crazy.
something. Yeah,
That is crazy. Yeah, you could spend thousands of dollars. I know a couple of guys that have like the full on like Recaro racing seats with
yeah,
the full like, 5 screens. And
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah. That is crazy. Yeah,
So speaking of gaming gear, let's talk about gear, drums. Let's talk about what drum kit you're playing right now.
my main kit is it's a DW Jazz series. It has two bass drums. It's a 14 by 20 and it's got a 14 by 22 and the toms is a 7 by 10, 8 by 12 and then 14 by 14 and 14 by 16 floor toms
Nice. Are those on legs or are they hanging?
on legs, yeah. And there's
Nice.
also a 13 that I haven't really. I usually just use it at home, but I think it's either 8 by 13 or 9 by 13. Sounds really good though.
Yeah, I think 9 by 13 is the standard size.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's probably 9 by 13.
And then what kind of drum heads are you using?
I usually like either coated ambassadors or clear not cl- yeah, clear ambassadors or clear emperors for the toms. In the snare, I usually just use single ply or like the controlled sound.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then what kind of sticks are you using these days?
5Bs, Vic first. Yeah, for
Nice.
me, I haven't really experimented too much with sticks, but I've always loved either a 5B or I started with the 55A. Then when I used the 5B, I loved
Yeah,
it.
I've always been a 5B guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't use 5Bs anymore. I use something similar to it, but yeah, it's just for whatever reason, the 5B always just felt right.
Yeah.
You know? And then what about cymbals? What cymbals are you using these days and
Uh,
sizes?
Mainly the for crashes I've been using the K suites a lot, like a 19 on the left and then 18 on the right, or either 18 or 17. But I've also been using the Formula 602 crashes, 18, 17 occasionally. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you using any stack crashers or anything like that? Like weird stuff?
I have the AGOP expansion, the clap stack, but I don't have the regular one. As far as like combining my own stacks, I have like a 16-inch, like a Sabian ozone, and sometimes I like to put uh, the 16K special dry under, or either like
Oh,
anything as
wow.
long as the ozone is there, like sounds that gets that crunch.
Yeah, that really crunchy, metally sound.
Yeah.
And so, like, let's talk about your practice routine every day when you're practicing. If you're not gigging, let's bring us through the day of a typical Vinnie Aguas practice day.
So usually, I actually wake up kind of early. I'm kind of a morning person. So I usually wake up, uh, eat a bowl of
Coffee,
coffee. Gotta have the coffee. Yeah,
nice.
that's the first thing usually.
Oh my God, that's essential.
Yeah, like a shower, coffee. I don't. I usually actually sometimes I don't even eat in the morning, just coffee, and then I practice. And usually like in the summertime, what I've been liking to do is just like learn, like try to do covers and record, and sometimes with songs I already know because I just got the Moises app this summer, and it's like wow, it's such a game changer for me. Like it's
Now,
been fun.
tell me about the Moises app. Everyone's been telling me, "Oh, you got to get the Moises app." What is it exactly? What does it do?
So like you could remove the drums, and at first I would bounce it as like you could
Wow.
bounce it as one track, but there's actually a feature where you could bounce it as several tracks, so it detects like vocals, guitar, keyboard, but sometimes it doesn't really detect the instruments like exactly what it says on the label, but like the sound will still be there, so you could still like individualize what you want to mix. And the audio is actually pretty good, like for like how much you pay for it too. Um,
Is it a subscription app or do you buy it outright?
I think yeah, it's a subscription. But they have a feature either like a monthly payment or you could do an annual payment. But there's the free version. I think you could use it. It's just like there's a limited amount of songs you could use.
Oh, wow. So can you load your own original music into it, or does it have to be music that's already uh, copyrighted?
Yeah, I think you could load your original music as any as long as it's not like I think you can't use like the Spotify, or like it has to be, or YouTube. It has to be like you have to convert it. But yeah, I think you can upload anything onto there.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll have to check that out for sure. That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Just to jam along to like all the songs I grew up listening to, it'd be fun to play to. So
yeah.
like, so tell me now, like it's 2023 and the music industry's completely changed as as we all know, and with this whole strike with Hollywood, with the writers and the actors and stuff, that kind of puts the whole entertainment industry into a halt. Where do you see the music industry going with the next 3 to 5 years? Because you're new to the game and you're coming in. So how do you feel it will evolve?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely say like commercial and pop music has changed so much with like all the electronics and but not that there's not cool stuff in it. I think like some of the drumming that's programmed into it is actually pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, in the next 5 years, it'd be interesting to see maybe if like the band scene or like actual musicians playing on the stage comes back or not. For me personally, I would like to see that because I would love to be like in a band and like that whole thing. I like seeing like how it was before. That's like for me that era is just like wow, that's so cool because it's like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I come from that era, from the last probably decade of it, and because I remember like 1990 to 2000. I remember MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice. They were like the big rage
yeah.
during 1990 going forward. And I just thought, man, I hope there's bands that still need drummers. Luckily, there were still great artists alive then and still making great music, and then new artists coming in. But now it's like if I watch like a music show or a award show or something, it's very rare I see a band. I see like maybe a DJ and 100 dancers and the artist. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
And so I hope it doesn't continue down that. I hope, like you said, musicians will come back into the fold.
Yeah.
And I would love to see. I don't know. What do you think about like double drummers? Would you like to see another band come up with two drummers playing at the same time?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Does 38 Special have two drummers? Or
I
like,
think 38 Special does. Yeah, I know 38 Special did or does still. The Doobie Brothers, back in the 70s. Um, you know, James Brown, he had two
oh
drummers,
yeah, yeah,
Jabbo and Clyde.
yeah, that would
But
be,
yeah, that would be cool. I think two drummers is awesome.
yeah. I feel like visually too, like even as like as a non-musician, like if you see two drum kits, that's like got to be like pretty like interesting.
Yeah, like one on each side of the stage. That would be fun to watch.
Yeah.
So what would you like to be doing like in the next 3 to 5 years in terms of Vinnie Agua's career? Where do you see that going?
In like 3 to 5 years, like for me, what I like as soon as I get out of college, I'd like to just tour and play as much music, mainly. That would like even like just maybe not maybe I don't know for how long, but yeah, touring would be fun and just maybe being in different bands or working with like really great artists too would be pretty inspiring. And yeah, that I just wanna I just like to play and work as much as I can for sure next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would you just wrapping it up here, what would you suggest to young drummers that are like, in their early teens, mid-teens, coming up as a drummer? What would you recommend to them? What would you tell them as their mentor? What would you tell them?
I'd say to try to be like listen to as many styles of music and do as much as you can to master those styles. You don't have to be maybe an expert, maybe just I would say like really focus on the genres that speak to you to be like maybe more uh specialized and expert in that field. But if they're trying to be like a session or touring or like maybe working with like different artists, like probably like also focus on like reading also just to make sure they have that sharpened as a skill. And yeah, just to also like maybe like as a teenager just to watch live music for sure, like go out to shows, jams, just play with people too, because I feel like the playing with people is just as important as like practicing. And yeah, just like be a nice person too, and if like
Yeah. And what do you
chill.
what do you think about that? Because now because of the internet, there's so many musicians, specifically drummers, that they set up a camera and their drums in their bedroom, and that's all you see is them playing by themselves to tracks or whatever, doing solos or practicing rudiments or whatever. What do you think of that? Do you think that's limiting, or do you think that's just a way of sharing? Like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I feel like it could be a way of sharing. Yeah, I think it could either be that or like maybe documenting practice. But yeah, yeah, it's tricky though because yeah, it is you are essentially playing not with other musicians, which is it's yeah, that's definitely like a new social media thing for sure. Like I do it too, but like it's yeah, I can see like how like if you've seen like how it was before, it's kind of like it's a different, totally different like animal now. And
Right. And
yeah,
do you find that you've gotten gigs because of being on the internet
I
and
think
on
it
social media?
I think it definitely does help. Yeah, I think because like it can be kind of people see like how you play in different settings and music. It can be a tool, I think. Yeah, I'd say it can help for gigs for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Well, listen, Vinny, thank you for taking the time out and doing this with me. And man, I'm so glad you're part of the Kirky B Show. And just closing out, how can we all reach you? How can we watch you? How can we contact you? Like if someone's watching this and they want to maybe take a lesson or they just want to follow you on social media, how do we get in contact? How do we touch you, Vinny?
You could reach by social media. My Instagram is Vinnie VINNIE underscore Aguas AGUAS. And yeah, if you want lessons, just DM me. My Facebook page is also Vinnie Aguas, and my YouTube too is Vinnie Aguas. So it's all the same. Yeah,
Okay. With the underscore in between?
yeah, with the underscore. Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you again, Vinny, man. This has been awesome. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
As your Uncle Kirky, I'm very proud. I want you to play much drum for us in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Well, listen, thank you again. And we'll talk soon. We're going to hang out and have a coffee. All right.
yeah, yes, sir.
Right on.
Thank
Sweet.
you, bro.
All right. See you, everybody.